everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Super Over podcast. And I am very, very excited to introduce not just our guest, but also one of my friends, Hayley Matthews. And for those who don't know, I'll just tell you a little bit about her. So she's born in Barbados. She made a debut in 2014 and also hit like 3 consecutive centuries against Australia in the ODIs. Player of the match for the 2016 finals where West Indies won at the age of 16, guys. 16. Liam, what were you doing when you were 16?
Not a lot. That was intense.
And also the recent WPL champions, not mentioning who they won against. The purple cap and the most valuable player, Barbados ki shaan, if I put it in Hindi, the pride of Barbados, Hayley Matthews. Welcome on our show.
Welcome, Hayley.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking to you guys.
Jemmy, what an intro. That was intense.
Yeah.
Guys, I have done so much research. Some credit.
Wow, you're literally,
but
man, you're a stalker. That's what you are.
To be fair, it was most of it was accurate. I scored 3 half centuries, not 3 centuries, but 3 centuries would have been better.
Sorry.
Not said anything.
No, honestly, I've written 3 half centuries, but by mistake I said centuries. But anyway, it might happen in the future. Against, hopefully it's not India, so yeah.
Wow, it's all right. It just shows we're not perfect. We're not perfect people, especially on this show. But yeah, Hayley, it is so good to have you. Obviously, yeah, we'll talk about your history with Jemmy. We're going to talk about WPL and a bit about your life. But just for people who maybe don't know where you are or what you're doing at the minute, are you back home? What have you got on the schedule? What's going on?
Yep. So after WPL, I went off to the fair break competition just for a couple of weeks, and then came home. I think about 3 weeks ago. And yeah, just been home chilling, getting some time to just cool out after a really long time on the road. And yeah, I head off to St. Kitts in about 2 days for the regional competition here in the Caribbean between the islands. So I'll be representing Barbados over the next couple of weeks now.
But did you get some time to just like take a break off from cricket, because it's been a really hectic season for you all?
Yeah, for sure. I think I definitely needed it. I think we went up to South Africa on the 10th of January, and I ended up doing that tour against you guys, the Tri Series, the World Cup, then straight to WPL, and then straight to fair break. So it was about 3.5 months on the road, which I'd never done before. At least not a trip to that extent. So yeah, when I got home, I kind of just kept back, like, didn't train, probably just, like, laid in bed, like, watch Netflix on the day, go see friends. But, yeah, just, like, some time for me to really kick back and enjoy. But at the same time, like, definitely got the time to kind of recoup. So I'm really looking forward to what I have coming up next week.
Sounds like everyone is basically resting at the minute, because Jemmy, you've got a little bit of downtime, haven't you? I mean, you don't have downtime because you've got photo shoots and award ceremonies and all this crazy stuff. But technically, you're not playing cricket.
No, I was not playing cricket, so I took a break for a couple of weeks. But yeah, now I'm back in the flow, working hard in the nets and things like that, because this is the only time we get as players if you want to work on something, because otherwise you're always on tour, something or the other, one tour after the other. So I'm really enjoying this time. Like, it's a time where I can focus on myself, focus on cricket, what I need to improve and stuff like that. And also good family time. Nothing beats that.
That's massively important. And I'm just thinking, for everyone who's involved in the WPL, obviously you guys have got lots of cricket coming up now. Hayley, is it easy to just go home and switch off? Or is it actually quite hard when it's been like such an emotional high? Like, you've just won an inaugural like women's Premier League in India. It's massive. To then just go home, see your mates, see your family. Is it a little bit weird, or is it really nice?
It definitely feels like the pace of your life is slowing down a lot. So you go from just doing something every single day, being in high intensity mode, to just heading home and kind of just putting everything away for a little bit. But I think at the same time, after being on the road for so long and stuff like that, you kind of need it. So it's like, you know what, it feels kind of weird, but I'll take it. Like, I'm gonna just go with it. So yeah, I guess that's kind of how it goes with it.
But taking you a little back, just before the WPL, I mean, we had the auctions. Were you watching the auctions?
Yeah, so I was in my hotel room at first.
Yeah. And like, you were not picked in the first round. So what is going on through your mind?
Yeah, so I remember even from before the auction, when they like put out the marquee list of players and I saw myself in it, I was like the 4th pick. I was like, oh no, that's not good for me, because teams are gonna have like their short internationals that they want to like try and secure first, and then maybe pick up some others after. So like if I'm that super high, it might be a tough time for me getting a lot of bids. So when that first round came around, I think I kind of sat there, heard like the first couple going, obviously like Smriti and stuff that I thought went for a lot. So then it was like, damn, like Sophie Divine went for like 50 lakh and I was base price, and I was like, oh no, if Sophie Divine went for base price, like I got to scratch my head a little bit. And I remember I was sat with my dad watching it in Cape Town because he came over to watch the World Cup. And then like my name came over and there was like no bids, and I was just like, oh no. I kind of just like sat there, and then like immediately after that I was just like, all right, you know what? I'm done watching it for a bit now until the second round comes around. And then we went off to training while the auction was happening. It was obviously quite a long process. And I think towards the end of our session, like we were checking in, they were just doing the accelerated rounds and kind of bringing everyone back. And then we went up to the lunchroom, and I think it was the final picks. Like all the teams had to kind of say the last players that they wanted to look at. And then like everyone was done, everyone came back in, and then my name came up first, and I was like, thank God. Because at that point, you know, if you kind of get called after not being called, like if someone kind of requested for you to get back in or whatever, so I was like, thank God. I saw Mumbai bid, and I was like, all right, bet I could work with that.
That's crazy.
Wow, and you ended
But
up
nah,
being
mad
the most
experience.
valuable player, yeah, of the tournament. Woohoo!
Yeah, I mean
That's
that's
a
how it
pretty,
works
yeah.
sometimes. But like, I just went so I had fun with it. So
That's a pretty cool rise. Like the adrenaline must be crazy. Just like sitting there, not, and I'm guessing you literally know nothing, right? Like this is not dramatized. It's not like you've already got a deal on the side that you know Mumbai are going to pick you. Like you're going in blind, aren't you? Like both of you were.
yeah, completely. I had no information prior. It was literally just like whoever bids is gonna get you picked up. Yeah, we're not much contact with any of the teams.
And was it even more crazy for you, Jem? Like being a homegrown player, loads of expectation. Like were you in any doubt that you'd get picked up?
Honestly, so when it started, for the first 15 seconds, when my name came up, there was complete silence. So I was like, wait a minute, nobody wants me. And those first 15 seconds feels like a lot, like initially, you know, because when Smriti came up, people were directly like, okay, 1, 2, 3, everyone is going. And like suddenly I'm like, okay, wait, did I put a lot of like the base price was too much? Did I make a mistake? What? But then suddenly once it started, it was like, okay, it cooled down, it calmed down, and then I was like, I was happy, you know. Then the final bid was Mumbai and Delhi, and so I was not sure, okay, which team I will go for. But then yes, being a Mumbai girl going to the Delhi team was kind of weird, but I really loved my team.
Yeah, I feel like that's important for you to say, Jemmy. Like so many people are like, oh, underneath you must have been so sad. But speaking to you like the way we have, I know for a fact you've loved being with Delhi, haven't you? Like the challenge of it.
Yeah, yeah, I think we had a really good franchise. I think Meg Lanning leading herself, you know, to have that experience out there and just getting to work with her so closely. Not just that, but the entire team, the support staff. I think they just made us feel very comfortable. We didn't have to work really hard, you know, to gel up with this team. It just happened. We hardly had 2 days because we were playing the tournament, the World Cup in South Africa. So we're not sure how it's going to be. Completely new franchise, new tournament, but things just happen so smoothly and so well. And I don't know, for me, when I looked at it like on TV, it looked like Mumbai had the same unity and, you know, the oneness. What is it like, Hayley, there?
Yeah, no, it was great. I think like a lot of things that you described just now is kind of how it felt within the Mumbai setup as well. No, it felt like a family, and I think just getting to play, you know, alongside players that you would have played against for a very long time, but now getting to obviously experience them in the same dressing rooms and see the kind of personalities come out, and I think the local girls as well. We had a great bunch. We had a lot of young characters who were quite funny and some big characters within the team as well. So yeah, just all great to get along with. And then obviously Harry leading us. You know, I think before coming into the team, we kind of didn't know what kind of character she would be. But then when you kind of got in and she opened up a bit with the internationals, you kind of see how much of a great person, a great leader, and you know how open and free she can be sometimes, which is pretty cool to experience as well.
That's two pretty good captains there when you think about it. Meg Lanning and Harmanpreet Kaur. Like if you could pick two captains, like they'd definitely be up there. So what I'm interested in, from like a fan point of view looking in, to me it was pretty clear that Mumbai and Delhi had the best teams. So I felt like the balance of your sides and the strength of your side, especially in the batting, was just like next level. Did you guys feel that at the time? that we're going to have a really good tournament and you guys were going to be the finalists when you looked at the other teams? Or was that not as obvious? Because obviously you know the players better than we do, but was it always going to be you guys in the final? That's probably my question.
I think I would probably say at the beginning of the competition, like before a match was played, I kind of had no clue how it would go. Like I had no clue if we got the first game and get absolutely smashed, if it would be like a tight game, if like we would go out there and absolutely kill it. Yeah, then it went how it went. But I think looking at a Mumbai team, probably we just had a lot of all rounders. Like we just had one person that kind of did two roles of all the time. Obviously myself, Nat Siver, Amelia Kerr, even Pooja, when she stepped in. It was just a lot of all-rounders, even down to Wongi as well, who was probably a surprise pick, but then came out and did so well in the competition too. So yeah, I think that was kind of our forte that we really went with, and it seemed to match up well when we went out there and played. But yeah, I had no clue how I would have gone with that first game. I was very nervous about how it was going to go, actually.
You were confident though, Jemmy, weren't you? You were telling me before, we've got a gun top 5. Look at all the batting we've got. Like you were confident. You were confident. I know for a fact.
I was supposed to be very diplomatic right now, Liam, but you just leaked it out. No, to be honest, I knew the two strongest sides was Delhi and Mumbai, and I would say third would be RCB. But again, cricket is such a game, you never know what happens. You can have the best sides on paper, but on the given day, who does well wins the game. But I was very confident with our teams that these three teams would be the teams that would kind of make it to the top. But again, there's that 10% of not knowing what's going to happen because cricket's a funny game and this and that. So yeah, because even UP had a really good bowling attack in the sense the pitches in Mumbai were getting slower. And they had like Eccleston, Rajeshwari Gaikwad, Dipti Sharma, like a top bowling attack too. So they were also looking dangerous, but somewhere Mumbai Indians did really well, to win that game against them and came in the finals and won the tournament.
Yeah, I'm so glad it went the way it did because it was a great rivalry. And we're going to talk about some of the funny stuff. We're going to mention the fact that you may have caught Hayley with an amazing catch more than once, but we'll get there in a minute. For just like thinking about how much this meant for the country, for you guys, obviously you've both been part of the challenge that was played in like previous years, but to have a women's Premier League when obviously you've watched the IPL over those last few years, just what was that like, Jemmy, for you as a young Indian girl growing up to now think you've played in the inaugural Women's Premier League and you're like one of the poster girls of it? How amazing was that for you? What did you see in terms of like the atmosphere, the fans, and just the way people are now loving women's cricket in India?
Yeah, I think when the auction took place, we were all in the team dressing room in South Africa and we were watching it because we had an off day. And I remember going back to the room and Smriti and I were alone in the room at that time. And we both were just silent and we just got really emotional. And we were talking to each other and we were like, this is something we've been dreaming about for so long. And we can't believe it's happening and it's happening at such a massive scale. So I think that was the kind of emotions that were going on. Even if you saw when the opening ceremony was there, Smriti and Harman, they gave each other a hug. And I don't know about others, but I saw that moment and I asked them also. They were like, we have been fighting for this for so long. And we've been looking forward to having something like this. And it's happening and we are a part of this, the first ever edition of the WPL. And then they gave each other a hug, which was very emotional. So I think this meant a lot for all of us, and not just us, but I think even the overseas players like Hayley and everyone else, because more than us, every time we used to go and play against them or play the big bash of the 100, the first question would come up was, when is the WPL starting? Because everyone knew that when it's going to happen in India, it's going to be crazy because we played matches in India. The fan following is on another level. Plus watching the IPL, the kind of craze that it is here in India. It's not something you'll find every time you play cricket. So I think it's massive. And for me personally, I think I'm so blessed that I'm getting to be a part of the first ever edition. And, it's like a dream come true.
So how crazy was it, Hayley, as a overseas player? Was that something you've never experienced in terms of just like the carnage of fans, noise, music, everyone just loving the cricket?
Yeah, for sure. I think like going on there, I had expectations for sure of how it was going to be. I know it was going to be on another level because it's India and it's cricket and the two of those go together like that. But I think, but I think even with those expectations, it still kind of like blew me away how massive the event really got and how big it really was. The crowds in India, the fans, I think with the opening game, the stadium was just absolutely packed. The semifinals, even the finals with you guys, there was not a seat available for anyone to be in. So, I mean, just experiencing something like that. As a female cricketer, with women's cricket growing so quickly, and you kind of realize like there's a real fan base out there supporting women's cricket wholeheartedly. And yeah, I think it definitely raises the intensity and helps to raise the standard of the game as well when girls can go out there and I guess kind of have all that behind them, especially having home and away games and stuff like that. So yeah, just a completely different experience with the fan base, and even just the way we were treated. The standard of the game and the standard of cricket was also really good to see and really good to experience. And yeah, I think everyone can kind of agree and kind of say that I think it's only going to get better from here. So
Definitely, it's gonna completely explode from here. And Jemmy, before we talk to Hayley about the obvious thing that she did really well and she won the whole tournament and she's now got the bragging rights and all that kind of thing, I think we need to give you your moment to just get one up on Hayley. There was a couple of things that happened, wasn't there, during the tournament? A few dismissals. Do you want to just take 2 minutes to brag about that before we say how great Hayley is?
Okay, so I had taken 2 catches in this tournament, and both of those catches was Hayley Matthews. But in the finals, Hayley Matthews took my catch at point, and she got the last laugh. So yeah, nothing to brag here,
Wow.
guys.
I got the last laugh, but I still feel like at the same time, you getting me twice probably hurt a bit more inside. So I mean,
Oh yeah, I
you don't
remember
only do it once, but twice.
yeah, we were shaking hands, and Hayley's like, "Man, why did you only have to stand there?"
Yeah, yeah. Both times, and there were two completely
But
different catches as well. Like one of them you were running in for, like diving full fed forward. Then the second one, I think I like smoked it to mid on, like absolutely out the middle of the bat. Didn't get under it enough, and the only person that was reaching that ball was Jemmy. So when I hit it, I was like safe. And then like as the ball was traveling and as she was traveling, I was like, oh no, not her again. And then it was like out the air, gone. Call it a day. I think it was one of those periods in the tournament as well where I probably like had two like low scores back to back, so I kind of needed to get a score, and I was just like, yeah.
you ended up purple cap.
All's well that ends well.
Yeah, I like this, Jemmy. You're being very humble. I'm trying to give you a chance, and you're like, no.
Listen, Liam. She's the guest on our show. We want her to come for season 3, okay?
That's all right. We can smooth her ego. That's fine. I mean, Jamie, I'm pretty sure if we go on your Instagram, you've still got that catch pinned at the top of your Instagram page. You love it that
Yeah.
much. So if anyone wants to go see that over and over and over again, wide mid on. That was such a good
Head to
catch.
Jemmy's Instagram.
That was such a good grab for sure. Jemmy, was it strange playing against friends, and especially like the Smitties, the Harmons of this world, or was it just like really fun? Don't care if they're my friends. I'm just going to catch them out like I did Hayley.
There were times where, especially when it was Smriti, because I'm really close to her, everyone knows that. So there were times I was a bit nervous, but then once you're in the flow and in the game, you just tend to forget about everything else. You just watch the ball and you hit the ball. If you're batting, if you're fielding, you just, try and make efforts to catch whatever comes. And I remember when Smriti was not having a really good form, and I really wanted her to score against us. But Delhi winning at the end to make it clear. And so McLaren was like, okay, Jamie, go at deep mid wicket. And she called me like 5 yards ahead, did move to the right, move to the left, and set me there. And I think Shikha Pandey was bowling. And Smriti hit it, and I didn't have to even move one step to the left or to the right. I'm like, Smriti, no! And it was an easy catch. I couldn't even drop it. So I'm like, Smriti, no! And I caught it, and I was like, no, I'm not going to celebrate.
Wow.
But I think I enjoy playing more against my friends than being with them in the same team, because I think the rivalry is more fun. That extra khunnas in Hindi you say khunnas. I don't know what you say it in English, but that extra that fire to go out there and win, and just make sure you get your friend out and things like that. I think that's a little more when you play against your friends.
Well, I'm glad you didn't deliberately drop the catch, because I mean that would have been the end of your
That would have
contract.
been a bit dodgy.
Please, guys,
Yeah.
I'm very sincere to whichever team I play. Don't take me in the wrong way.
Yeah, let's not go there. Right, go on, Jemmy. Let's talk about Hayley and the fact that she won the trophy.
Nice, Liam. You wanted me only to ask her that. So, Hayley, how was it like winning against Delhi Capitals?
Dream come true. No, being real though. I think just like I said before, playing in a competition like that, and playing the first game of it is making history. Hitting the first 4, the first 6 is making history. But
Yeah.
obviously, winning a trophy, the first ever is definitely something special that I think any player or anybody that would be a part of something like that would never be able to forget. I think even just being a part of the competition, I know you guys obviously didn't win, but I still think, being a part of that first competition was something massive and something very special. So yeah, I think, to kind of go home and know that you kind of went out there in the first competition and you're part of some history that would never be forgotten. And also sharing that with people that then would have ended up meaning so much to you after meeting them a month ago or whatever the case is obviously just something that you'll kind of never be able to forget. And I think that was the best part about it for me. Just the way that it felt, more so celebrating it with the teammates around you that you all kind of went through the ups and downs and worked really hard with for that 1 month that you were there. So yeah, just a surreal feeling, and yeah, definitely one that will always stay in my heart forever.
Yeah, and I think one thing for sure is that, yes, Mumbai Indians did win, but a bigger win was for women's cricket all over the world. Because the kind of matches, the kind of competition, the kind of viewership, the kind of people that turned up on the ground, I think for me personally, I've never seen that side before. And this just shows that, women's cricket is going to a whole new height, a whole new level. And it's so nice to be a part of women's cricket at this moment because, it's just going to go up and up and up from here.
Yeah, and I think something too, like the WPL, it kind of sets a new standard, and we see all the boards and all the franchise leagues around the world now kind of have to step up, and obviously WPL is going to keep improving, and it's going to influence. I think WBBL just released their massive new salary caps or whatever for their the BBL season, and I think a lot of that has to do with the influence probably of the standard that the WPL set. So I think it was a great first step, but I think the biggest thing for women's cricket is to make sure it's continuously moving in the right direction, and it seems that at the moment it's doing so. So
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
everyone.
that's
I think
true.
everyone's got the same idea. I think the 100 are going to put their caps up as well to try and make it a little bit better. But I think we just need to understand it's always going to be next level. I think the WPL is always going to be the best, the biggest, and like the most money. I think that's just how it's going to go. It's the same with the men's game. So everyone's now going to start panicking, thinking, "Oh, there's an American league starting and there's South African league starting." But it feels to me, and I don't know, Hayley, it might be a bit soon to say, but does it already feel like you can't really top that, and that is the best league, and that is your highlight, and that is the best thing that you've been part of?
yeah, I feel like at the same time though, like people understand that that's what IPL is or that's what WPL is. Like you said, it's been like that for so many years with the men, that you kind of just understand. Our IPL's the most lucrative, I guess, and best franchise league in the world. And I think it's made clear when a lot of the boards don't necessarily plan much cricket through the IPL season and stuff like that, but you would see them planning cricket maybe through other leagues, teams that play during 100 or teams that play during Big Bash, but a lot of teams really step out and give their players to kind of have the freedom to play in IPL because they know how big of a league it actually is. And I think obviously in women's cricket, just from that first year, you kind of do realize, okay, WPL is the top standard right now. But I think all the other teams or all the other leagues' jobs now is to just try to do what you can with your resources, but make sure you're trying to get as close as possible, really and truly.
Preach, Hayley Matthews.
Yeah, he's officially the WPL spokesperson. I'm just thinking, I know it was an amazing tournament, and obviously you guys,
Oh,
I'm
wait,
sure.
yeah, just putting in a word for CPL as well. Like anybody that trying to come up to CPL, biggest party in sport. So make sure
That's
like y'all
true.
get over there.
That is what they say. Biggest
Take me,
party.
Hayley. I'm up to be in your team.
Yeah, nothing beats your home tournament. I get that for sure. And just, I'm sure you're already excited for the next edition. And I know you've got loads of cricket, both of you, until then. But are there certain things reflecting now that you'd like to see come in for next year, or things better? Maybe like the draft, or just, I don't know, the boundary size. People spoke about that a lot. That actually it's about time that the women's boundaries went back now, because like people like you, Hayley, you're just like smashing it everywhere. So are there certain things that you're like, I'd love to see this for the second edition next year?
I feel like as an all-rounder, sometimes I like the boundary sizes and sometimes I don't. Just depends
Well
on
said,
how
well
it's
said.
going. Yeah, just depends on how it's going. Not when I'm bowling at Alice Capsy in that match when we scored like 150. I don't like when the boundaries are small then. Um, but yeah, I feel as though like the tournament last year was pretty good. I don't feel like there's too many changes. I mean, maybe the traveling factor now getting to play in other cities. I know that the other teams would probably appreciate that for sure, and it would bring a lot more competitiveness, I think, towards the tournament. Because playing away is never ever going to be easy. With the passion that the home fans have in India. So yeah, maybe that.
Yeah, one thing I would definitely like to change about the WPL is the winners next year. It has to be the Delhi Capitals. Yeah, but I think apart from that, I think women's cricket has reached such a level, it's so competitive and so massive. And sometimes I just feel the rules are more towards the batters, whereas, a bowler can keep only four fielders out. But I think now women's cricket maybe has reached that stage where, even we can like give our bowlers an extra cushion and maybe five fielders outside. And yeah, I don't know, because the kind of level we are playing, the kind of matches, the chases, and Sophie Devine like hitting a 92-meter six and things like that. I mean, that's a six on any ground, so it doesn't matter if it's 60 yards or 70 yards. It's a six on any ground. So this is how women's cricket is, going to a whole new level. So I think we can give it a thought. Why not?
Yeah, Sophie Devine was absolutely smashing it. Like so many people were. It was just ridiculous. And I think we'll be agreed that it's just so good for the women's game. And just thinking for you, Hayley, obviously you've won the first ever season, which is like, oh, okay, we've done it now. Does that make you more hungry to go and do it again? Or in a way, is it like, right, I've completed it now, so I'll just enjoy next year, pressure off?
Nah, I think
Liam, that's a
definitely.
stupid
Yeah,
question. Sorry.
definitely hungry. Oi, back to back looks better than just winning 1 year. So
Well, I thought
One all
maybe,
is better.
yeah,
One all.
maybe you'll be nice and give Jemmy a chance, like she wanted to give Smithy a chance, and
I mean,
potentially drop.
two finals back to back isn't bad, Jimmy, is it? You could just go that route.
No, winning is more important, man. Winning is more important. Liam, we have to fly down wherever we are and support the Delhi Capitals.
Yeah,
Free tickets.
I'm trying to think, who I'd actually support, because I'm a Kolkata Knight Riders fan in the IPL, and obviously, so yeah, I don't think I'd be Mumbai. Delhi are always at the bottom in the men's game, so I'm not going to follow them.
In the men's game,
Sorry,
excuse me.
Jenny. So maybe RCB.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I like the
No.
colours. They always have big marquee players, don't they? That's their problem, though. They have really good, like 2 or 3 players,
Yeah.
but their strength in depth is not as good as you guys. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Interesting to see next year whether there's any movement and whether the squad's strengthen or whether it's going to be like you guys again going at it. But yeah, I suppose we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, and Hayley, you've played I think we've come to the end, might be the final question before the fan questions. But what do you think? Did you find any emerging player, some new talent that you're really excited to see during the WPL?
Yeah, so I think in our team, Saika Ishak, I think she came running all the games. I had played with Saika in the challenge the year in front, but she didn't actually get to play any games. But obviously I would have seen her face in the nets and stuff like that. And then she was a great character as well. It was so funny. So then, yeah, I think this year watching her bowl, I think especially in those first 5 games or so, yeah, she was a breakthrough player and obviously a superstar that Mumbai might have to fork out a lot to keep next year, but I reckon she's worth all of it because of how good of a player she is. And yeah, she's really come out and I guess made a name for herself in this WPL. And I think it's really good that the WPL has given players opportunities like this now
Yeah.
where they can go and have a good season and be able to break out and compete. So yeah, that was just great to see her kind of do that. And I think even when you look at some of the other teams, or obviously it's Kiran Navgiri, is that it? Yeah,
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure I got the pronunciation right. But yeah, seeing players like her, I think the girl from RCB, the off spinner that like bat like 6'7",
Shriyanka.
yeah,
Shriyanka
her as
Patil.
well. So just a lot of players that are obviously emerging and showing how much depth India is starting to grow. And yeah, I think it's just going to raise the level of international cricket and the standard as well.
What about for you, Jemmy? Same question. Emerging.
Yeah, I think for me, one was definitely Shriyanka Patil. I think not just with the ball. I mean, she's both beautifully, but also with the bat. Coming in and just this youngster coming in and shuffling across, hitting them for a six. That shows the kind of confidence they have coming in. It's a little weird for me calling someone else a youngster, but yeah. And also Saika. I think even what I loved about Saika was her body language. Every time she came, she was like she was on to take a wicket. She was on. She was like she was ready to give a fight. And I think this is what I love even about what I was watching the India under-19 World Cup and all the girls, like not just the Indian team, but just the fearlessness, the confidence, and the boldness with which they play. Just speaks a lot about them, and this is so inspiring even for us to watch, and also very exciting to see the bench strength that is going to come from the WPL in India. This was just a small statement. I think now it's just going to get better and better because you being a youngster playing at this level, you get a taste of international cricket. You know what you need to work on, what you have to do better and things like that. And obviously sharing the dressing room with legends of women's cricket, it rubs off on you. You want to get better. You want to do something what they are doing because that's why they're at the top there. So it's very inspiring and it rubs off on you. And yeah, it's just very exciting to see how things are going to go about from here.
And Alice Capsley is not a bad player for a teenager. Just thought I'd put a little
He's a
English
superstar.
mention in there while you're talking about all the Indian players,
Yeah, I mean, Capsy has been, I think from the time she's debuted, she's, even before her debut, I think in the 100, they were talking a lot about her. And I remember one game in the 100 when I was playing against her. She came the second ball, she moved across and she reverse swept one like a bullet. Like it went for a four. I'm like, man, this girl's on. What people are talking about is absolutely true. And being an all-rounder, a team player, an all-rounder, it's very handy, coming in, bowling those few overs in between. It's always very helpful. So yeah, I mean, many more Alice Capsies, many more Shriyanka Patils, many more Saikas coming out from here.
So exciting. Right, Jemmy, should we finish by grilling Hayley with some fan questions?
Let's go. Did Hayley get any marriage proposals?
I mean, there are about 600 messages here, so we may discover some as we go through. But generally, that's how it goes, Hayley. Like whenever I ask for questions, people are like, "Marry me, will you marry me?" So yeah,
At least I won't die single, so there's always an option.
Yeah, we'll try and protect you from that, Hayley. Okay, who is the toughest bowler you've faced, would you say?
Oh, I feel like I have to say this because her ratio of getting me out is like 60% of the time when I bat. So I probably have to say Eccleston, or else the stats will be way off. But yeah, obviously number one bowler in the world. So yeah.
Liam's happy you chose an England bowler.
Yeah, for
No, I've got to bring the.
Is this like any cricket, or is this like ladies cricket, or is this like any cricket at all?
Yeah,
you faced, I think.
Yeah,
so any cricket.
You faced.
I think probably playing like first division here or like school cricket. I faced like Jofra when we were in school together under 19s. So yeah, that was pretty quick. But luckily he was my friend, so he kept the ball full for me. He didn't back pitch anything, which was good. But the guy from the other end was the other under 19 opening fast bowler for West Indies as well. And we weren't exactly friends, so he kind of cut my throat a couple of times.
Dug it in short. Wow,
Yeah.
That's pretty good to face Jofra.
No,
Okay.
it's not very good.
Oh yeah, pretty amazing, but also terrifying at the same time. Yeah, I'm sure.
Have you had the opportunity recently to face him? Like
Nah,
after school days?
we keep saying that we gotta get in that session because he telling me like he can't get the ball hit, but we gotta wait and see, man. He's a busy boy and I'm a busy girl, so
Who's your favourite men's cricketer apart from Jofra?
it's not draft. Favorite men's cricketer. You know what? I would probably have to say Virat. Um, I don't know. How can you not? Well, I know how some people don't like Virat Kohli, but I absolutely love him. Obviously a lot of attitude and a lot of flair, but I mean, just even if you're just looking at the cricket, the way he bats, obviously out of this world, and yeah, massive fan.
What would you say to your 15-year-old self if you could? What advice would you give?
What advice would I give? Probably to like never let up. I remember I went through this phase probably like 2017, probably like 2018-ish maybe, like cricket was going really well and I was doing really well and kind of got my first century and stuff like that, and then I kind of just stopped working as hard and kind of like went through a massive rut because of it. And yeah, just kind of obviously that was a learning curve in my career, that no matter like how well you're doing or how well it's going, you kind of have to working hard, keep wanting to improve your game. Yeah, since I've been working hard, it's been going all right again. So thumbs up to that.
And just to finish, we had loads of questions saying, right, as an all-rounder, how would you advise me to basically do that in my own game? So do you focus equally on your batting and your bowling? Do you work on certain things, different seasons? Do you focus on one or the other? Like, how do you maintain your bowling and your batting?
Yeah. I probably do more remedial work, like as in like focus really hard on skills with my batting a bit more. I just think batting is obviously very technical. Bowling is as well, but batting probably just has a bit more to it sometimes. So yeah, I probably do a bit more like remedial work when it comes to my batting stuff, and with my bowling, just make sure I'm bowling in the nets and working on specific skills that I want to get better at. But probably wouldn't spend as much time 2 hours in the nets just working on bowling per se.
There you go. Jemmy, are you working on your bowling? A little bit of off spin or something? What do you even bowl? Is it spin?
I bowl, excuse me. It's off spin too.
Hey.
Just waiting for my chance. Yeah. Taking a lot of inspiration from Hayley.
Well,
Just look at a picture, go in the nets and then start bowling.
didn't Smriti bowl in the RCB game at the end?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You could pull out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm calling Meg right now to give me bowl.
Yeah, I feel like this is something we need to see. Like, I don't think I've seen you bowl in like an actual game, so we need to see that at some point.
Yeah, actually, I bowl a lot for my state, but I have one international wicket for India. But yeah, I want to bowl a lot more. Hopefully, if our all rounders are a little less than our Indian team.
Yeah, it's going to have to get pretty bad, I feel, in your team at Delhi for Meg to throw you the ball to come on under pressure. Get smashed for loads of sixes.
No. That might be a secret weapon for next year, and we're going to win. So yeah, come on, let's go.
Yeah, maybe that'll be the difference maker next year. Well, that's been so good, Hayley. Thanks so much for just sharing your experience with us, being our first guest on the second season. So, Jemmy, I'm sure you're happy with that. You got Hayley and all her achievements out of the way. Doesn't make you feel too bad, does it?
No. I mean, more than anything else, she's a very nice human being, and we don't talk a lot, but I think when we do, we have a good time. So it's really nice to have you on our show. Thank you so much for saying yes, and it didn't even take a lot of convincing or anything. I just said, "Hey, we're doing this podcast," which she's like, "Yeah, sure. What time? When's it?" So thank you so much, Hayley, for joining us, and I'm sure all of us really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me, guys. And yeah, I think I hope that I set a real good standard for that first episode of season 2.
You did, man. You definitely did.